Life is serious. We're here to instruct, to grow, to learn, and to get the best we possibly can. It's important because some people do really well, while others struggle. So, let's think about that carefully. Winning or losing, succeeding or failing, it all matters. We need to take our future seriously, for ourselves and our families. That's why the first step to having a great year is to get serious. Study, learn, grow, change, and develop. Don't forget to learn from your experiences. If you want to solve problems or seize opportunities, you need to keep learning. We can't just give you a plan and expect everything to work out. We have to spend time learning and improving. When things don't go well, don't give up. Learn from it and try again. This is how life changes for the better, by educating ourselves. Don't be lazy when it comes to learning and growing. That's why you've heard from people sharing their stories and ideas. Learning is the key to wealth and change. So, let's learn, make our dreams come true, and get smarter together. A few simple disciplines practiced every day, and you've started a whole new process, a whole new life. And if you keep up that process, not only with your health habits, but with your money habits, your communication habits, your sales habits, management habits, and every other habit that you've got, if you'll start that process, eliminate the errors, and replace it with disciplines practiced, I'm telling you, you can start this process of life change immediately after today. You don't ever have to be the same again, only by choice, errors, and judgment. A few simple disciplines. Wealth beyond imagination. Let the miracle of everything that's available work for you, and start working on the inside. Work on your philosophy. Work on your attitude. Work on your personality. Work on your language. Work on the gift of communication. Work on all of your abilities. And if you'll start making those personal changes, I'm telling you, everything will change for you. Work on yourself. Then you bring more value to the partnership, to the marriage, to the franchise, to the corporation, to the enterprise, to the community, to the nation. Self-development, personal development. The best contribution you can make to someone else is self-development. Not hasty if it isn't required, but don't lose much time. Here's the time to act. When the idea is hot and the emotion is strong, that's the time to act. Don't use the excuses they use. It's called the language of the poor. Switch gears, switch language, switch ideas, switch strategy. Start with the simplest of disciplines, and don't demean any of these disciplines. The smallest of disciplines starts the process of life change. And if you'll invest in this thing called discipline, you can have whatever you wish. It's called the beginning of a miracle. If you will get better, everything will get better for you. What a clear message that was for me. He said, if you'll change your philosophy, if you'll change your habits, if you'll refine your thinking, if you'll change and accept some new disciplines, if you'll turn the corner where you've been in the past, go for a new life for the future, he said, all kinds of remarkable things will happen for you if you will change. Here's what we must learn to do. I didn't go to work to try to change circumstances. I went to work to try to change myself. And I picked up that promise my teacher shared with me, that if I would change, my income would change. If I would change, my bank account would change. If I would change, my future would change. And sure enough, his promise came true for me. You know, the companies were about the same, what they paid was the same circumstances around me were the same, you know, my negative relatives were the same, but I was not the same. That's how my life changed. Things started working for me, changing my life all those years ago. We don't have to change what's going on out there. That's the wind that's blowing. All we have to do is change what's going on in here. And now, there are several ways to do that. The first subject he called personal development. We must learn from personal experience. Pretty simple. Learn from what happens to you. Take a look back over the last few months. Did you make some mistakes? How could you correct those for the future? Take a look back over the last year. Have you done it right or done it wrong? Let's correct it for the next year. Mr. Schoaf asked me when I first met him, he said, "Mr. Rohn, how are you doing? You've been out there now 6 years." And I said, "I'm not doing very well." He said, "I suggest you not do that anymore." What a simple, swift analysis to my situation. He said, "If you keep doing it, the next 6 years will be like the last 6. You don't want that to happen. Let's make the changes." So, learn from your personal experience. Second, other people's experiences. That's me, other people, that's your teacher, that's your friends and colleagues, the people you meet that can pass along to you their experiences. What's happened to them, the mistakes they made, how they corrected them, how they changed their health and changed their bank account and changed their income and changed their future. Other people. Now there are 2 kinds of people to learn from. One is failures. It's too bad failures don't give seminars, right? That would be valuable. Have them tell you how they lost it all and threw it all away, threw their health away and threw their friendships away and things didn't work out well. That would be valuable. But now then, we must also learn from positive people that have done well. They've got the health. And so we ask them, how did you become so healthy? They've got the skills, so we ask them, how did you become this skillful? They've got the income, so we ask them, how did you get here in such a short period of time? So now, here's what's important in personal development, in learning from other people. We learn, number 1, by observation. We learn what we see. We watch people that are successful in what they do. In sports, we watch their disciplines. In business, we watch their disciplines. Second, we learn by what we hear. Learn by listening. And then listen to the sermon on Sunday morning. Listen to the lectures. Listen to the teacher. Listen to someone who's got something good to say. And then number 3 is vitally important on personal development, and that is read all the books. All the books you can possibly read in your lifetime. Mr. Schoaf got me started on my library. I've got one of the better libraries. And then I started keeping a journal. One of the major things my teacher taught me was to keep a journal. He said, don't trust your memory. If you hear something good, just make a little note and write it down. So I would suggest you do the same things that impress you. A poem that impresses you when you attend a class, some of the ideas that impress you, jot them down. You read something in a magazine, write some ideas, take those out, put them in your journal. Keep a good journal the rest of your life. This will serve you well. So I want the same thing to happen to you. Value captured that you can resort to later. Go back over it and review it, and let it become valuable to you. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Develop the skills, learn the lessons, take the classes, absorb all that is being taught to you these days. And then later on, of course, you can sort it out what's valuable to you and how to refine it for your business and for your life and for your future. But the main thing is to get it and start this process of personal change. Now let's cover the second, setting goals. We need to take a look into the future. In setting goals, it's very simple. Number 1, decide what you want. Just take a little time, sit down and say, what do I want? What kind of skills do I want? What kind of income do I want for the future? Where would I like to go? Places I'd like to visit? Habits I'd like to acquire? Skills I'd like to have? Economics? Friendships? People you'd like to meet? When you've thought about what you want for the future, make a list. If the future gets clear, the price gets easier, because you've got to remember, for every promise, there's a price to pay. Everybody's got to pay the price. Everybody's got to do the deal. Everybody's got to do the disciplines. But here's what I've discovered. If the promise is clear and powerful, the price is easy to pay. The first part of the key is to design the promise. Then, what is the price to pay? I'm telling you, the price will be easy if you'll make the promise of the future clear for yourself. All of the values of life that you could possibly want, and be serious about it, I promise you, it's an easy price to pay. Anybody can pay it. And the best advice I can give you is, if I can do it, you can do it. Start setting your goals and see if you can't get a better excitement going for the things you want to accomplish for the future. One of the major reasons for setting goals is for what they make of you in achieving them. My teacher advised me when I first got started at age 25. He said, "Jim, why don't you set a goal to become a millionaire? I'm here to help you." And he said, "Here's why. For what it will make of you to achieve it. Set the kind of goals that will make something of you to achieve it." So part of the key here is to set the kind of goals that will make something of you. Don't set them too low so that you don't have to grow, and you don't have to read, and you don't have to try, and you don't have to stretch. Don't set them too low. And then don't sell out. Don't go for something that's going to cost you your virtue or cost you your values or sell out your principles. There's a good middle road here to follow. Goals that will inspire. Goals that will help you grow, change, develop, and become better than you. So if you want something to pull you through all kinds of challenges, all kinds of difficulties and things that come at you, you've got to have something out there beyond today, beyond next week, beyond next month, beyond this year, that pulls you into the future. And the clearer it is, the stronger it pulls, the more dynamic it is, the more it affects your life, your spirit, your heart, your soul. It also creates imagination. It gets your mind working on how to achieve that purpose. And if your mind will work, and if your heart works, and if your spirit works, and if you have good input, like good ideas, I'm telling you, there isn't anything you can't accomplish. Ideas gather dust, you know. They don't produce it all by themselves. It's like philosophy is not the end. Philosophy is the beginning. Philosophy must be invested. When I talked about philosophy, attitude, and disciplines, they must be invested. And if you invest philosophy and attitude and disciplines, then they produce results. Now here's all you've got to do. Turn that around. A few simple disciplines practiced every day starts to create success. Not at the end of the first day. The first day is the end of a new beginning. Every new discipline affects the rest. Every new discipline makes a difference. That's why action is so important. The smallest action, the least action. The action that you won't think will matter. It all matters. Take it. Because when you start accomplishing and the value starts to return, you'll find inspiration to do the next one, and the next one, and the next one. But for this whole process to work for us, we must first master the art of discipline, self-discipline, consistent self-discipline. It doesn't really matter how smart you are or how much you know if you don't use it. It doesn't really matter that you graduated magna cum laude if you're stuck in a low-paying job. It doesn't really matter if you attended every seminar that comes to town if you don't apply what you've learned. Better than knowledge is applied knowledge. And once we've applied our knowledge, we must study the results of that process, apply our knowledge, study the results, refine our approach. Finally, by trying and observing and refining and trying again, our knowledge will inevitably produce worthy results, admirable results. And with the joy and results of our efforts, we continue to apply, to learn, to observe, to fuel our ambition with the positive reinforcement of continued progress. Pretty soon, we'll find that we're swept into a spiral of achievement, a vertical rise to success. It takes consistent self-discipline to master the art of setting goals, to master the art of time management, to master the art of leadership, to master the art of parenting and relationships. If we don't make consistent self-discipline part of our daily lives, the results we seek will be sporadic and elusive. It takes a consistent effort to truly manage our valuable time, or we'll be consistently frustrated. Our time will be eaten up by others whose demands are stronger than our own. It takes discipline to conquer the nagging voices in our minds, the fear of failure, the fear of success, the fear of poverty, the fear of a broken heart. It takes discipline to keep trying when that nagging voice within us brings up the possibility of failure. It takes discipline to admit our errors and recognize our limitations. The voice of the human ego speaks to all of us sometimes. The voice of ego says that we should magnify our value beyond our results. It leads us to exaggerate, to not be totally honest. It takes discipline to be totally honest, both with ourselves and with others. It takes discipline to change a habit, because habits are formed a little bit each day, every day, every day. Once habits are formed, they act like a giant cable, like a nearly unbreakable instinct that only long-term disciplined activity can change. You just have to go home and make a list. After today, here's the question to ask as you make this personal list. What am I not doing that would be easy to do, that could greatly change my health, my wealth? What am I neglecting that would be easy to do? Just go home and answer that question personally. You don't have to put the answers on a public bulletin board. This is just all personal stuff. But here's how you get a miracle going for your life. Number one, do what you can. Get a list of the stuff you could do and you haven't done, postponed, and start cleaning that up. You can't start at a better place for personal change. That'll affect your bank account, affect your future, affect your income, affect everything. You can't start a better life change process than cleaning up what you should be doing. The man says, well, my mother lives down in Florida. Should have written her 6 months ago. I just can't seem to get that letter written. I'm asking you to get that letter written, clean that up, and don't walk like other people walk. Don't postpone like other people postpone. You say, well, is it as simple as writing a letter? And the answer is yes. Where else would you start for life change, personal change? Number two, do the best you can. If that's not your philosophy, I would ask you to amend it. Let me give you the best of ancient script. Here's what it says. Whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your might, do it with all your strength, and do it with all your power. What a good philosophy. That kind of philosophy can revolutionize your life. If you haven't picked it up lately, the guy slips in late, comes late, doesn't seem to mind. Slips out early, first one in the parking lot, heading for happy hour, stretches his break, comes early for lunch, late back from lunch. Company doesn't seem to notice. Guy says, best as I can calculate, I'm putting in about a half a day's work and I'm collecting a full day's pay. Little does he know, the seeds of his own disaster are already being sown by the weakness of his own personal philosophy. It's not the economy that's going to determine your next 6 years. It's your philosophy about labor, about activity, about miracle, and soil, and seed, and sunshine, and rain, and the economy, and the banks, and the money, and the companies, and the schools, and what's going on. It's your philosophy and your attitude, and then your ability to take action. All of that we call the process of life change. Miracle-working, consistent self-discipline. Set up a discipline when the emotions are high and the idea is strong and clear and powerful. That's the time to set up the discipline. Somebody talks about good health and you're stirred, right? I need to get a book on nutrition. Get the book before the idea passes, before the emotion gets cold. Go for the book. Start the library. Start the process. Fall on the floor. Do some push-ups. Action. You've got to take action. Otherwise, the wisdom is wasted. Otherwise, the emotion soon passes unless you put it into a disciplined activity. Capture it. Disciplines. It's called How to Capture the Emotion and How to Capture the Wisdom and translate it into equity. Disciplines. You start walking around the block. It'll inspire you to get an apple. Get an apple. It'll inspire you to get a book. Get a book. It'll inspire you to get a journal. Get a journal. It'll inspire you to grow, develop some skills. All disciplines affect each other. Every lack affects the rest. Every new affects the rest. The key is to diminish the lack and set up the new, and you've started a whole new life process. Here's the greatest value of discipline: self-worth, self-esteem. People are teaching self-esteem these days, but they don't connect it to disciplines. The slightest lack of discipline starts to erode our psyche. One of the greatest temptations is to just ease up a little bit. Right. The slightest lack of doing your best starts to erode the psyche. Instead of doing your best, doing just a little less than your best. Sure enough, you say, well, it's just going to affect my sales. No, it's going to affect your consciousness. It's going to affect your philosophy. Now you've begun, in the slightest way, to affect your own philosophy. Here's the other side of discipline. If there's considerable time that passes between the moment of awareness and the time of our implementation, then that is called procrastination. Procrastination, doing it tomorrow instead of today. Procrastination, an almost exact opposite of discipline. The voice within us says, get it done. Discipline then says, do it now. Do it to the best of your ability. Today, tomorrow, and always. Until finally, the worthy deed becomes instinctive. Procrastination says, later, tomorrow, whenever I get a chance. Procrastination also says, do what is necessary to get by or to impress others. Do what you can, but not what you must. In every circumstance we face, we are constantly presented with these two choices. Do it now or do it later. Discipline and procrastination. A choice between a disciplined existence, bearing the fruit of achievement and contentment, or procrastination. The easy life, for which the future will bear no fruit, only the bare branches of mediocrity. The rewards of a disciplined life are great, but they're often delayed until sometime in the future. The rewards for the lack of discipline are immediate, but they are minor in comparison to the immeasurable rewards of consistent self-discipline. An immediate reward for lack of discipline is a fun day at the beach. A future reward of discipline is owning the beach. For most, we choose today's pleasure rather than tomorrow's fortune. So, how can you get rid of the easy distractions? How can you keep your mind on what you're trying to do? How can you keep an attitude of doing it all and doing it now? How can you make the choice of discipline over procrastination? How can you stay focused on your ambitions? How can you avoid conversations at the water cooler? You can keep your focus on your work. You can get it done today instead of tomorrow. You've got to really work on your consistent self-discipline on a daily basis, or you'll find yourself distracted by negative thoughts, distracted by negative people, distracted by water cooler chatter, and pretty soon, depending on the type of people you've associated with, distracted by your doubts within yourself. Never underestimate the power of influence and associations, and never underestimate the power of your own consistent self-discipline. Now let's take a closer look at discipline, at the 3 steps to becoming disciplined. First, true discipline. Discipline is not the easiest option. Most people would rather sleep until 10 Dugar than get up at 6 a.m. It's easier to go to bed late, sleep late, show up late, leave early. It's easier not to read. It's easier to turn on the television than to open a book. It's easier to do just enough than to do it all. Waiting is always easier than acting. Trying is always easier than doing. Imagine what life would be like if we didn't have to make our bed in the morning, or keep our garage clean, or pay our taxes, or show up for work tomorrow. Wouldn't it be fascinating? What do you suppose would become of us? Not much. For whatever the reason, the system we live in and contribute to is designed to make the easiest things in life the most unprofitable, profitable. seems to be the most difficult our world is and always will be, a constant battle between the life of ease and its momentary rewards, and a life of discipline and its far more significant rewards. Each has its own price, the price of discipline or the price of regret. The second lesson of discipline is that it's a full-time activity, and we've said that the best form of discipline is consistent self-discipline. You see, the discipline that it takes to make your bed every day is the same discipline necessary for success in the world of business. The discipline to organize your garage is the same discipline to organize your business. All disciplines carry through to affect all parts of our lives. If we're disciplined in just one area and lazy in another, guess what? Pretty soon, the lazy side will creep in and destroy the disciplined side. The bad habits in one area of our life will eventually destroy our self-discipline in the areas we've been working on. Consistency cannot be inconsistent. Discipline is the mind being trained to control. Discipline is a set of standards we impose on ourselves, a personal code of conduct. Once we adopt these standards, we commit to honoring them, and if we don't, there can be no disciplined activity. The third step to becoming consistently self-disciplined is a philosophy that holds one of life's unique promises. For every disciplined effort, there is a multiple reward. Everything of value requires discipline. Children, for instance, require unwavering and consistent discipline to understand what's right and wrong, acceptable behavior, and boundaries. The most valuable form of discipline is the one we impose on ourselves. Don't wait until things deteriorate so drastically that someone else must impose discipline into your life. Your life, my life, the life of each one of us is going to serve as either a warning or an example. In the end, it is your own discipline that acts as the magic catalyst to give substance and depth to your ambition, to achieve your own plans and dreams. Humans also need words. Words nourish the mind, give life, and create insight. The mind needs to be exercised, refined, and stimulated by debate. We need both sides of the human drama represented. That's why we study both good and evil, health and illness. We need to give voice to both sides of the issue to strengthen our own arguments. Our personal philosophy needs to be developed so we can see the opportunities on the other side, so we can maximize those opportunities. This is the twin challenge in developing ideas and philosophy and strengthening all of it. The battle of the mind is significant for us every day. What to think, what not to think. It's a continuous process of growth and development, a journey toward maximizing opportunities and avoiding dangers, both within ourselves and in the world around us. Mr. Schaff's advice to stand guard at the door of your mind is invaluable. It reminds us that we have the power to decide what enters our minds and ultimately shapes our futures. We must be wary of the negative thoughts and self-doubt that can steal our promise and potential. Instead, we should strengthen the positive side of our internal dialogue, nurturing healthier, stronger, and wiser mindsets each day. Engaging in the debate of life, what to eat, where to go, what to say, what to do, requires us to fortify our minds with positive reinforcement. By doing so, we build a shield against negativity and distractions that could hinder our personal development and future success. Building a robust mental library is essential. It consists of visual resources, such as videos, and auditory resources, like podcasts or audiobooks. However, it's crucial not to consume only mental candy, superficial or entertaining content. Instead, we should seek out diverse perspectives, debate ideas, and form our own conclusions. It's also essential to give ourselves the chance to change and refine our philosophies as we grow. Our libraries should reflect our dedication to personal development, showing that we're willing to learn, debate, and evolve to achieve our goals. In the end, it's the daily disciplines, the small, consistent actions, that make the most significant difference in our lives. By committing to these disciplines, we can chart a course toward our desired future, avoiding disillusionment and ensuring that we arrive where we truly want to be. Now is the time to fix the next 10 years. Sometimes we need to confront reality and truth head on. When I met Mr. Schoff, I was 25 and he was 44, bringing a wealth of experience and asking me tough questions. He posed the pivotal question: are you reading the books that will take you where you want to go in the next 5 years? It's a brilliant statement. You're either engaged in the disciplines or you're not. We must avoid disillusionment, hoping without acting, wishing without doing. The key is to assess where we are and what changes we can make to ensure we're taking daily steps toward our desired treasures: mental, personal, spiritual, and financial. Coaching can be invaluable. Taking time out to listen to someone's experiences and ideas can lead to moments of correction that prompt positive changes in our lives over the next 1, 3, or 5 years. We all need inspiration, but it often stems from self-motivation. Waiting for someone else to turn us on isn't a strategy. We must draw emotional vitality from life's challenges and opportunities. Let others lead small lives, cry over minor hurts, and argue over non-essentials, but not us. We should deal in things that matter and ensure our actions stem from our own conclusions, not blind followership. Moreover, being happy with what we have while pursuing what we want is a great challenge. Developing our lifestyle involves appreciating the finer things in life, studying the arts, and reaching for the best within the time we have available. It's not about the amount, but the imagination. Choosing to be somebody wise, strong, and kind. Mr. Schoff taught the importance of lifestyle, even in small actions like tipping the shoe shine boy. Becoming a two-quarter person and finding joy in the greater person we are becoming exemplifies living life in style. In life, the pull is often in the opposite direction. But by making small changes, setting higher standards, and choosing to live with style, we can navigate through and emerge victorious in the journey ahead. Success is learning to move in the opposite direction of the normal negative pull. It's about overcoming the downward trend that life often presents us with. Life, like a seed, springs forth by moving against gravity. It pushes its way up against the pull of the soil. Similarly, success involves moving against the natural pull towards negativity and mediocrity. Consider the origin of the word tip, which originally stood for to ensure promptness. If we're to ensure good service, we should give the tip up front, ensuring a positive experience. Life and style is also about balance, nurturing relationships, cultivating friendships, and cherishing family. These values add depth and richness to our lives, far beyond material wealth. Success is not about the amount, but the attitude. An attitude of continuous improvement and appreciation for life's blessings. It starts with changing our philosophy, our mindset, and our habits. The key is not neglecting to do the easy things that lead to success, for neglect leads to a downward spiral that affects every aspect of our lives. Discipline is crucial. It affects every area of our lives, and every action matters. The smallest action, taken consistently, can lead to profound changes. The